Hello guys, welcome to EB Portuguese. We are now in the second class and you are going to speak Portuguese in a very easy way. For you to start speaking Portuguese, guys, we have thought about a way using vocabulary of day-to-day conversation as well as set sentences that you can memorize to communicate when you come to Brazil or when you are talking to a Brazilian. What you have to do is just one thing. First of all, you have to go to a place where you have silence just to listen to us. It's what we call the student mode. You have to enter the student mode, guys, because learning a language requires dedication and attention. Okay? Here you're going to be submitted to the sounds of the language, to the words of the language, to the writing of the languages. Therefore, you need to be thinking about Portuguese, concentrating, focusing on Portuguese. Alright? So that's what you have to do. Find a place where you can be alone with us, to listen to our conversations, to repeat the conversation, to write up the conversations, alright? And to answer the questions that we're going to ask you throughout the process. Today we have a second lesson, but if you haven't watched the first one, I recommend that you do it. Look for the first one, go there, listen to the vocabulary, repeat the vocabulary, repeat the sentences, write the dialogue. This is a very nice way of learning a language. You have to listen to the language first, listen to what we are going to play here for you, alright? After that, write the dialogue in your notebook, in your laptop, wherever you are and whatever you use to study with, okay? Then I recommend that you repeat it to yourself. Repeat it all the time. That's what I do when I'm watching a movie, for example, in a foreign language. I keep repeating what the actors are saying because it makes me memorize the sounds of the language as well as memorize the words. Okay? We are also going to help you out through grammar points and cultural topics with our posts on Instagram. So at the end of each lesson here, you are going to have the number of the class posted on Instagram with the explanation of the grammar. We also have a Telegram page which we want you to join. Alright, so join us on Telegram, join us on Instagram, and help your vocabulary increase, help your knowledge increase, studying with EB Portuguese. So, have you memorized what I said? First, what you have to do is go to a place where you can be in silence, enter the student mode with us. After that, start listening to the conversations that we are going to post here. After that, listen to the explanation and write the explanation. Write the vocabulary because language is a repetition of sentences and words. And this is exactly what we're going to do here. Repeat, because the more you repeat, the better you speak. And the conversations that you have here, guys, are day-to-day conversations. We chose day-to-day words for you to be able to really speak as a native, to really communicate when you were here or when you were talking to a Brazilian. Alright? We are starting the second lesson now at the airport because as we know, we have a character. The name of our character from lesson 1 is Antonio. He was on the airplane and now he is at the airport. To say that he is at the airport, in Portuguese you say no aeroporto. Can you repeat that? No aeroporto. I'm gonna repeat that with a voice of those people from airports. No aeroporto. No aeroporto. Okay? I'm gonna play an audio now with different voices so that you can get adapted to different sounds because we all have different ways of speaking the language, right? I would like to ask you to pay careful attention to the sounds. Are you ready? Yes or yes? Yes is the only answer here, guys. Alright.
Diálogo 2. Lição 2. No aeroporto. Antônio desembarca no aeroporto de Salvador. Ele segue para a imigração onde conversa com o agente. O agente de imigração pega o passaporte e faz perguntas a Antônio.
Bom dia, seu passaporte, por favor.
Bom dia, aqui está ele.
Qual o motivo da sua visita?
Estou aqui a turismo. Quero conhecer o Brasil.
Por quanto tempo você pretende ficar?
Quero ficar aqui por 3 meses.
Onde você vai se hospedar?
Tenho reserva no Hostel da Barra.
Bem-vindo ao Brasil.
Muito obrigado.
All right. So what you heard there, guys, was a conversation that is really likely to happen when you get to the airport. You were talking to the agent of immigration or the immigration officer, and he or she is going to ask you questions about the reason why you are in Brazil. So the reasons we chose are tourism, turismo, that you can have here because Antonio wants to know Brazil. But there is another option that we're going to talk about as we discuss the points here of the vocabulary. I am going to repeat these words here that you can see in the images, and I would like to ask you to repeat after me, okay? The first one is this here. Ponto de táxi. Repeat, please. Ponto de táxi. Again, ponto de táxi. As you know, ponto de táxi from the image is the bus rank. And here what we have is ponto de ônibus. Ponto de ônibus. Ponto de ônibus. That is the bus stop or the bus terminal. Ponto de ônibus. Okay? Very nice, right? Well, the first thing that we have to bear in mind is that Antonio is at the airport. How do you say at the airport in Portuguese? No aeroporto. Remember to use a voice. No aeroporto. Very good. Then, guys, the first question that the agent asks Antonio is, he doesn't ask a question, but he asks a first thing. He says, bom dia. Bom dia. Bom dia, as you know, in Portuguese means good morning. So when you are in the morning and you want to greet a person, what expression do you use? Bom dia. Very nice. Then the agent asks for Antonio's passport, and then he asks please for that. How is the question? Seu passaporte. He says seu passaporte because he's talking to Antonio, right? And then he says seu passaporte. And then he complements por favor. Por favor. Seu passaporte, por favor. Can you repeat that after me, please? Look at my mouth. Seu passaporte, por favor. It's with you now. Seu passaporte, por favor. So Antonio answers the agent and he says, bom dia. Remember that the agent said bom dia? And then now Antonio is saying bom dia because he's greeting the agent with the same expression. Bom dia, bom dia. And then he says, aqui está ele. Can you repeat that? Aqui está ele. Well, remember that the agent had asked Antonio to give him his passport? Then Antonio is answering, aqui está ele. Aqui está ele. So Antonio is giving the passport to the agent and then he says, aqui está ele. Okay, when somebody asks you something, like for, I don't know, your cell phone, then you say, aqui está ele. And if the person asks for your pen, sua caneta, then you say, aqui está, or aqui está ela, okay? Because it's a pen, and pen in Portuguese is feminine. So we say ela. Passport's masculine. Ele, he. Ela, she. Okay? Yes, we say she for caneta. Alright? Very good. Estou aqui a turismo. First of all, the agent asks, qual o motivo da sua visita? Listen again. Qual o motivo da sua visita? What is that? We have two words that are very similar in English. Motivo, visita. Motivo, visita. You see, Portuguese and English can be similar. Motivo, visita. What do you think the agent is asking? If you said the reason, the motive for Antonio's visit, you were 100% right. So the agent is asking Antonio why he's here, what the motive for his visit is. And then he asks, qual o motivo da sua visita? What is the motive for your visit? Literally, it means that. Okay? What is the reason for your visit? Okay? Qual o motivo da sua visita? I'm going to repeat. Qual o motivo da sua visita? This is a good one, right? Then Antonio says, estou aqui a turismo. Estou aqui a turismo. Then we have another word that is very similar to English. What is the word? Turismo. So we already know why Antonio is here, right? Tourism. Tourism in Portuguese is turismo. But then Antonio says, estou aqui. Estou aqui a turismo. He is saying, I am here for tourism. Let's go again. Eu, that is me, right? Then estou aqui a turismo. In Portuguese, the verbs are conjugated. So not all the times it's necessary to say the person that is performing the action. That's the reason why we only say estou aqui. But you can also say eu estou aqui. Okay? Estou aqui is the same as I am here. I am here for tourism. Estou aqui a turismo. Quero conhecer o Brasil. Quero conhecer o Brasil. So Antonio wants to know Brazil. And how does he say that to the agent? He says, quero conhecer o Brasil. And you? Eu quero conhecer o Brasil. And you? Can you repeat that? Quero conhecer o Brasil. Right, guys. Then the agent asks Antonio, por quanto tempo você pretende ficar? Por quanto tempo você pretende ficar? We already know that você means you in the singular, right? So the agent is asking Antonio how long he wants to stay, how long he intends to stay. Remember the word pretende in Portuguese means intende. Intend in English. So pretende, intend in English, okay? It's a false cognate. It seems to pretend, but it's not pretends in English. Pretende in Portuguese is intend. So Antonio is asked, por quanto tempo você pretende ficar? How long do you want to stay? How long do you intend to stay? Por quanto tempo você pretende ficar? Let's repeat this question. Por quanto tempo você pretende ficar? Then Antonio says, quero ficar aqui por 3 meses. Quero ficar aqui por 3 meses. Now, guys, we have a repetition of words. The first one is quero. Remember Antonio said, quero conhecer o Brasil. Quero conhecer o Brasil. Now he says, quero ficar. Quero ficar. The verb querer, in the first person, eu quero, means to want. So Antonio is saying, quero ficar. And how do you say quero falar in English? Quero falar português. I want to speak Portuguese. Quero falar português. Okay? Antonio says, quero ficar aqui. Again, we repeat the word. Aqui. We repeat it. Quero, I want, ficar, to stay, as the agent asked, por quanto tempo você pretende ficar? Quero ficar aqui por 3 meses. For 3 months. Por 3 meses. For 3 months. Quero ficar aqui por 3 meses. Let's go again. Quero ficar aqui por 3 meses. Quero ficar aqui por 3 meses. And then the agent asks, onde você vai se hospedar? This is a very nice question, guys. Onde você vai se hospedar? Onde is the same as where, right? So, onde você, where you, vai se hospedar? Literally, will stay. So, where will you stay? Onde você vai se hospedar? Can you repeat that? Onde você vai se hospedar? Onde você vai se hospedar? Onde você vai se hospedar? Then Antonio says, tenho reserva no hostel da Barra. We already know that reserva sounds like English. What is this? reservation. And then we have Hostel da Barra. It's the name of the hostel, right? So, tenho reserva no Hostel da Barra. I have a reservation at Hostel da Barra. Okay? Very nice. Let me take it for you to... Okay. See it better now? And then he says, Bem-vindo ao Brasil. Bem-vindo ao Brasil. That's what I say to you. Bem-vindo ao WeBe Portuguese. Bem-vindo ao Brasil. So you know that welcome in Portuguese is bem-vindo. Bem-vindo. When you say that somebody is welcomed in a place, you say bem-vindo. Now suppose that I am going to your house. Where is your house? Suppose that you live in let me think about a place, Finland. And then you say bem-vindo à Finlândia. Bem-vindo à Finlândia. Welcome to Finland. If it's in England, bem-vindo à Inglaterra. If it is in China, bem-vindo à China. The United States, bem-vindo aos Estados Unidos. And Ireland, bem-vindo à Irlanda. It's Australia, bem-vindo à Austrália. If it is Nigeria, bem-vindo à Nigéria. Morocco, bem-vindo ao Marrocos. Okay? And then Antonio says, muito obrigado. I'm going to repeat that for you. I said for yous. Yes, it's an Irish way of speaking you. Very nice, right? So for you in the plural. Muito obrigado. Muito obrigado. It means thanks very much. So what I'm gonna do now, guys, is repeat the dialogue for you to listen, okay? And I want you to pay careful attention to the sounds. I'm gonna start repeating by the sound of the title. And I would like to ask you to please pay attention to what they are saying. Remember that you can repeat it as many times as you want. Because the more you repeat, the better, guys, you speak. Listen now.
2. Lição 2. No aeroporto. Antônio desembarca no aeroporto de Salvador. Ele segue para a imigração, onde conversa com o agente. O agente de imigração pega o passaporte e faz perguntas a Antônio.
Bom dia, seu passaporte, por favor.
Bom dia, aqui está ele.
Qual o motivo da sua visita?
Estou aqui a turismo. Quero conhecer o Brasil.
Por quanto tempo você pretende ficar?
Quero ficar aqui por 3 meses.
Onde você vai se hospedar?
Tenho reserva no Hostel da Barra.
Bem-vindo ao Brasil.
Muito obrigado. Ouça e repita. Ponto de táxi. Ponto de ônibus.
Alright, guys. Very nice. Is it super easy? Yes? It's Portuguese, guys. Portuguese is a very beautiful and uncomplicated language. But remember, what we have to do is, when you're learning any language, is to concentrate to study. Remember that you speak your language the way you speak it fluently because you have heard it a lot of times and because you have repeated it a lot of times. Remember that when you were studying Portuguese, what you have to do is to listen to our conversation here and then concentrate there, write the words down, write the vocabulary down. That's what I did when I was learning Spanish. When I was learning Spanish, I took a book and I started reading the book, listening to the audios, and writing the sentences to my notebook. And it was a notebook at the time, not a laptop, a notebook really, paper. And then what happened was, I learned it very fast, of course, because it's very similar to Portuguese, but also because I dedicated to it. I wrote it down. Same happened to English. When I was starting to learn English, I did it. I listened to the dialogues, I heard the conversations, I watched movies, and I wrote down the words that I didn't know. When I had the books with vocabulary and conversations, I just did it. I just wrote them down to my notebook so that I could memorize the words and that I could memorize the sounds. Something that I also do is, while I am writing, I speak. While I am reading, I speak so that I can hear my voice. And if you have sound as we do here. We can compare the voice of yours, the voice of yours, wow, your voice and the sound of the native speakers. Remember that people speaking here in AB Portuguese are native speakers of Brazilian Portuguese, so you can develop your pronunciation skills by repeating what we are saying. Okay, nice. Now I'm gonna want now I want to know if you really understood the conversation. That's the reason why I'm gonna ask you some questions. I'm gonna answer the questions too. But remember, sometimes the vocabulary here in the questions are going to be diverse. Sometimes the vocabulary is not in the conversation. Why are we doing this? Because we want you to go further. We want you to go look for new words. Because only by looking for new words will you grow, will your vocabulary develop, will you conversation skills and your knowledge develop. Okay? So remember, the vocabulary that we have here, sometimes we have extra vocabulary, is for you to go there and look for new words. I am going to start asking you the questions, and we will start by, of course, the first question, and then the second, and so on. Are you ready? So, marque a resposta correta. If you saw the first lesson, you know already what marque a resposta correta is. It means for you to check the right answer. Marque a resposta correta. Okay? The first one is Antônio está. We already know that está has two meanings in Portuguese, right? It can be a transitory thing or a permanent thing. So está is the same as to be. And then we have Antônio está. Antônio is. First option, no aeroporto, no avião, no restaurante, no hotel. Which one is your option? Antônio está. Remember that no means in the. So in the or at the. No aeroporto, no avião. You already know avião from lesson 1, right? That means airplane. No restaurante, no hotel. Which is your option? I'm gonna give you 2 seconds. Okay, now which is your option? Where is Antonio? If you said no aeroporto, you got it right. Antonio está no aeroporto. Okay? Now, the second one, guys. Antônio é agente de imigração, turista, comerciante, surfista. We have 4 options there. 4 options that you already know. Agente de imigração, turista, comerciante, surfista. Comerciante, as the name says, is somebody who works with commerce. So it's a businessman, right? Or a person who works with commerce. Then we have agente de imigração, turista, comerciante, surfista. Antonio is A or N. What is your option? If you said turista, you were totally right. We know that Antonio is here from Italy. So Antonio is turista. Turista. Can you repeat that? Turista. Antônio quer ficar no Brasil por 1 mês, 2 meses, 3 meses, 4 meses. So we already know from the lesson that the verb ficar is stay. Okay? So Antônio quer ficar no Brasil. So how long does Antonio want por? For, right? How long does Antonio want to stay in Brazil for? Then we have 1 mês, 2 meses, 3 meses, 4 meses. We already know that the word mês in Portuguese means month. And the plural of month is months. So we have 1 mês, 2 meses. 1 mês, 2 meses. How long does Antonio want to be here for? Antônio quer ficar no Brasil por. If you said 3 meses, you were right. This is the answer, right? 3 meses is the time limit for tourists to stay here, as it is in many other countries. Then we have Antônio tem reservas. We already know that tem is the same as to have. Antônio said, eu tenho, I have. Now, Antônio tem, he has. Antônio tem reservas em hotel, hostel, pensão, apartamento. Let's go again. Repeat the sound. Hotel, hostel, pensão, apartamento. Pensão is the same as board house or an inn. And apartamento is the same as in English and other languages too. Okay? So where is Antonio going to stay? Yes, if you said hostel, the name of the place he's going to stay is Hostel da Barra. Hostel da Barra. Remember that? Hostel da Barra. Now, guys, we have the second sentence here, the second challenge for you. Marque a alternativa falsa. Falsa, as you know from first lesson, means false, untrue. Okay? Marque a alternativa falsa. Then we have some words that are different. We have é noite no diálogo. We know that the word noite in Portuguese means night. É noite no diálogo. Remember that in the dialogue, Antonio said, the agent and Antonio say, good, bom dia, bom dia. What is it? If you don't know what bom dia, boa tarde, boa noite mean, so please go to our Instagram page and watch the first lesson on Instagram. There we have the greetings with the times of the day. So, é noite no diálogo. Is it night in the dialogue? Antonio says, bom dia. Is it night? If you said no, then you are right. It's not noite. It's dia. It's not night. It's the day. Right? Antonio says bom dia because it's the morning. Okay? Antonio é viajante. This is a very nice verb that everybody loves. Not everybody, but many people, myself included. That is viajante. Viajante comes from the verb viajar. Viajante is the person, and the verb is viajar. Viajar means to travel. If viajar is to travel, viajante is the person who travels. The traveler. Antônio é viajante. Is it true? The verb, guys, is viajar. Viajar. And the person that performs the verb is viajante. What is Antônio? Viajante. Is it true or false? If you said it's true, you are totally right. True in Portuguese is verdadeiro. Ok? Verdadeiro. Antônio não conhece o Brasil. Antônio não conhece o Brasil. We already know that conhecer is to know. Remember Antônio said, eu quero conhecer o Brasil. But then we have a negative there. Não conhece. Antônio não conhece. Doesn't know. Não conhece. True or false? It's true. Remember, he says, eu quero conhecer o Brasil. So it is verdadeiro. 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 Ok? V for verdadeiro. Antônio quer ficar no Brasil por alguns meses. Now, guys, we already know the words querer, ficar, meses. Right? Remember, if you took notes, you already know the vocabulary. If you haven't taken notes, please take note, because the words will be repeating. Language is a repetition. So, Antônio quer ficar no Brasil por alguns meses. The only words that you still don't know here is alguns. Alguns in English means some. Some. So what do you think the sentence is saying? Antônio quer ficar no Brasil por alguns meses. So, Antônio wants to stay in Brazil for some months. Is it right or wrong? It's right. Remember that it's verdadeiro. He said, eu quero ficar no Brasil por alguns meses. So guys, what we have is marque a alternativa falsa. The only one that you have to mark is letter A. That you have to check is letter A. Letter A is the only false alternative. The only alternative that is not true. Okay? Because we know it's not night in the dialogue. It's day. Morning, actually. Because Antonio says, bom dia. Okay, can you say that again? Bom dia. And if you have the airport voice, how is that? Bom dia. Now we have to responda V para verdadeiro e F para falso. We already know that verdadeiro means true and F means false, right? Cool. Antônio está no Brasil a turismo. You already know all the verbs, all the words there, all the words you know. So as you know all the words, what is Antônio saying? What is the verdadeiro or falso thing? Antônio está no Brasil a turismo. Is this false or true? It's true. Remember he said, I'm here for tourism. So Antônio está no Brasil a turismo. Very good. Now, the second one. O agente de imigração não fala com Antônio. O agente de imigração não fala com Antônio. Is this false or true? O agente de imigração não fala com Antônio. It's false, right? Because we know that the verb falar is to speak. Remember that I gave an example before? To speak. O agente de imigração não fala com Antônio? No, he speaks with Antônio, so it's false. Antônio fica em uma pensão. We already know the vocabulary there too, right, guys? Antônio fica em uma pensão. What is pensão? A boarding house, right? Is this true? No, it's false because Antônio is at the hostel, right? O agente de imigração pede o passaporte de Antônio. O agente de imigração pede o passaporte de Antônio. Pedir is the same as to ask. Pedir, to ask. So he asks for o passaporte de Antônio. What about that now? Is it true or false? It's verdadeiro. Verdadeiro. Why, Márcio? Because the agent says, seu passaporte, por favor? Seu passaporte, por favor? Then Antônio says, aqui está. Aqui está. Remember? Very nice. Let's continue then. We have verdadeiro, falso, falso, verdadeiro. Remember, if you are not sure about the answers here, go back to the dialogue. Okay? And when you are watching this video, go back to the explanations. Very nice. Responda as perguntas. Now, what I want you to do here, guys, is to answer the questions, right? Responda as perguntas means answer the questions. The first question that we have is, em que cidade Antônio está? Em que cidade Antônio está? From lesson 1, we already know that Antônio is in Salvador, right? Salvador. Salvador. So we can say Antônio está em Salvador. Antônio está em Salvador. Em que cidade Antônio está? Antônio está em Salvador. Can you repeat that? Antônio está em Salvador. What about Márcio? Márcio está em Salvador. And you. Remember that when we use the verb estar to be for he, she, it, we say está. But when it's about I say estou. I am. Eu estou. He is. Ele está. Antônio está em Salvador. Eu estou em Salvador. And you. Onde você está? Or, em que cidade você está? The answer is, eu estou em Salvador. And you? Now we have another sentence. Quem conversa com Antônio? Quem conversa com Antônio? The same as who talks to Antônio. Who talks to Antônio? Conversa, conversar, the verb is to have a conversation, to converse. Quem conversa com Antônio? Then we say, let me underline it. O agente de imigração conversa com Antônio. O agente de imigração conversa com Antônio. Quem conversa com Antônio? O agente de imigração conversa com Antônio. And now I have a question. How do we say? Quem conversa com você? Now, who talks with you? Quem conversa com você? Then you say, Márcio conversa comigo. Márcio conversa comigo. O agente de imigração conversa com Antônio. Ok? Por que Antônio está no Brasil? This question, guys, is very simple too. Por que Antônio está no Brasil? It is, why is Antônio in Brazil? Remember his answer? Then we say, Antônio. Oops, I always forget to underline. Let's underline it, Marcy, yes. Antônio conversa. Por que Antônio está no Brasil? I'm sorry. Antônio está no Brasil a turismo. Remember that it's what Antônio said? He said, estou aqui a turismo. Estou aqui a turismo. So, Antônio está no Brasil a turismo. Remember that, guys? Yeah? Then we have something else. The question is, Antônio quer conhecer o Brasil ou o Uruguai? What is the answer? Antônio. Again, right? I know. Here. Antônio quer conhecer o Brasil. Antônio quer conhecer o Brasil. João quer conhecer o Brasil. Maria quer conhecer o Brasil. Ok? Onde Antônio fica em Salvador? We already know that when we say onde, we are asking where. So, onde Antônio fica? Fica is stay, right? Onde Antônio fica em Salvador? Where does Antônio stay in Salvador? Where is he going to stay in Salvador? Do you remember? So we have to give a complete answer. And now I remember to underline it. So a complete answer is Antônio fica em Salvador por, let me write it, 3 meses. Antônio fica em Salvador por 3 meses. Antônio fica em Salvador por 3 meses. Ok? And if it's you, me, eu fico em Salvador por 3 meses. Eu fico em Salvador por 3 meses. So for me, the verb is fico. Fico. Eu fico. Antônio fica. Ok? Very nice. Por quanto tempo ele pretende ficar? Oh, I confused the questions, guys. I'm sorry. Let's go back. Oh, Márcio. I'm so sorry. Onde Antônio fica? Onde Antônio fica? Antônio fica em Salvador. Antônio fica por 3 meses. This is for the next question. I just looked here and I confused, guys. I'm sorry. Antônio fica em hostel. Antônio fica em hostel em Salvador. Antônio fica em hostel em Salvador. Now we have the answer. Antônio pretende ficar por 3 meses. Antônio pretende ficar por 3 meses. Ok? Antônio pretende ficar por 3 meses. So, Onde Antônio fica? Where does he stay? Onde Antônio fica? Where does he stay? Antônio fica em um hostel. Por quanto tempo? How long? Por quanto tempo? How long? Ele pretende ficar. Antônio pretende ficar por 3 meses. Onde ele se hospeda? Onde ele se hospeda? Here, guys, this question is just for you to have two different verbs. Because onde Antônio fica, where does he stay? Onde ele se hospeda, where does he stay? But in a house, in a hostel, in a hotel, it's the same thing, okay? Ele se hospeda is just for us to practice the verb. Ele se hospeda em hostel. Ele se hospeda em hostel. So we have the verb ficar, that is stay, and hospedar, that is to stay in a place. Okay? Specifically. So we say, onde ele se hospeda? Ele se hospeda em hostel. Is it okay by now? Yes or yes? Yes. Oops. Here. Now, responda a essas perguntas sobre você. We know that você in English is equivalent to you em português. Okay? You, você, em português. Você conhece o Brasil? Then we have to ask. We already know that conhecer is to know. So, você conhece o Brasil? Sim, conheço. Não, não conheço. Which one is your answer? Você conhece o Brasil? Sim, conheço. Não, não conheço. Then you have to check it. For me, it's, of course, I'm Brazilian. Yeah, eu conheço o Brasil. Not all Brazil, because Brazil is a continental country and it's very large, the 5th largest nation in the world, so I don't know everything, but of course I know Brazil. Você quer conhecer o Brasil? We already know that querer is the same as want, right? Você quer conhecer o Brasil? Sim, quero. Não, não quero. I would check. Sim, quero, because Brazil is beautiful, amazing. Por quanto tempo você pretende ficar? Do you remember that the agent asked this question to Antônio? Por quanto tempo você pretende ficar? And Antônio said, pretendo ficar por 3 meses. And you? Por quanto tempo você pretende ficar no Brasil when you come to visit? Eu pretendo ficar por 1 mês, por 2 meses, por 3 meses. This is your answer. Você quer conhecer que cidades? We already know that cidades means cities, right? And conhecer means to know. And querer means to want. Você quer conhecer que cidades? What cities do you want to know? How many cities in Brazil do you know, huh? And what cities do you want to know? Then it's for your choice. First of all, of course, Salvador de Bahia. This is amazing. Then Rio, São Paulo, Santa Catarina, Florianópolis, actually, Manaus, Belém, Recife, Goiânia. Goiânia is the capital city of Goiás. Okay? We have so many. 26. Onde você se hospeda? 26 states, so many cities to know. Onde você se hospeda? Where do you stay? So, when I travel, I like to stay in a hostel or in a hotel, or in an Airbnb home. So, I say, eu me hospedo em Airbnb, eu me hospedo num hostel, eu me hospedo em hotel. So, it's up to you. What happens here, guys, as you can see, is complete o diálogo, right? It's for you to complete the dialogue. It's for you to complete the conversation. To do that, what you have to do is, what I suggest is that you stop here, pause here, and try from memory to write it in your notebook, filling in the blanks from memory, then you go back to the dialogue and you check if you are right or wrong. Do you understand what I mean? It's a very nice exercise, guys. Down there, guys, in red, you can see assista aos vídeos. Assista aos vídeos means watch the videos. So what we have is watch the videos on Instagram. The vocabulary, the grammar that we have here are related to those classes on Instagram. So what we're going to do is look for class number 3, number 5, class number 6, class number 7, number 9, 11, 26 on our page on Instagram. Okay? So this is a very nice thing that you do. Remember that I talked to you in the beginning that what we have to do to learn Portuguese is dedication. So then you are going to write everything, write the vocabulary, listen to the vocabulary as many times as possible. Alright? So I say to you, again, once again, bom dia, seu passaporte, por favor. Bom dia, aqui está ele. Qual o motivo da sua visita? Estou aqui a turismo, quero conhecer o Brasil. Por quanto tempo você pretende ficar? Quero ficar aqui por 3 meses. Onde você vai se hospedar? Tenho reserva no hostel da Barra. Bem-vindo ao Brasil. Muito obrigado. Ok? Muito obrigado a você por acompanhar aqui a aula do IB Português. I see you in class number 3. Bye bye. Thanks a bunch for your time. Remember, repeat the vocabulary. Bye. See you later. How do you say bye in Portuguese? Até logo. Até logo.